Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: EDGAR, LUNGU and MWILA beg PF members to support Luo even if they hate her. PF accuse UPND of burning their own presidential billboard. Cybersecurity Act under microscope in the Lusaka High Court. In international news, Jacob Zuma's corruption trial over arms deal postponed. And in sports news, MWEPU and DAKA on target in SALZBURG win over LASK.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big question to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates: 28th to 29th May 2021. Time: 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges: 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bobs Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
We came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Another news in detail. After keeping Zambians in the guessing mode for a day on who was going to be President EDGAR Lungu's running mate, the PF presidential candidate shocked the nation when he announced that former Munali constituency member of parliament, Professor Nkandu Luo, would be his running mate. The PF presidential candidate, as well as the party secretary general Davis Miller, have since appealed to party members to respect and support Professor Luo, even if they don't like her. The head of state has described the Professor Luo as an intelligent and tough leader with vast experience in the political space. We have more in this report.
Sealed and stamped, the nation has been taken by surprise at the revelations of President EDGAR Lungu's running mate, Professor Nkandu Luo. Clad in her ivory flamboyant outfit, walked in majestically as a running mate should. Professor Luo, well known as a disciplinarian when she headed the Ministry of Higher Education, among other government portfolios, is a possible vice president for the Republic of Zambia. After being cleared by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, PF Secretary General Davis Miller urged the members to support President EDGAR Lungu's choice.
You are within the Republican Constitution as well as our party. Your Excellency, who are Temwa Lungu, are Temwana running mate. That is the song that we are going to go with together, the running mate and the presidential candidate, so that we can win the 12 August general election. We are winning the 12 August general election. Your Excellency, we are very excited, and on behalf of the party, the structures, I want to assure you that we, from today onwards, will go flat out to ensure that we emerge victorious on 12 August this year.
And the PF presidential candidate Edgar Lungu, who is also a Republican president, expressed confidence in his choice of running mate.
With my choice, I meditated, reflected on it, and prayed about it. But I can tell you one thing: not all of you will accept her. But please, you should know that not all of you are accepted by everyone else. It's very, very important to know that diversity of opinion and views is what makes the world go round. So if you don't agree with my choice, wait for your time. Probably you have your own choice. But for me and my party PF, it's LUNGU NAHUM. I know some of you fear her because she's too strong, too forthright, and too intelligent. But that's why I went for her anyway. So gentlemen and ladies, PF remains one. And I cannot complete my address this morning without saying thank you to Madam MWILA, the Vice President who has been there for me, has been there for the party from the time we started when Mr. Sata left us. And I'm sure she will be there for us to ensure that we draw on her experience and expertise and the patience, which is one of her hallmarks. Very patient, soft-spoken, analytical, and willing to listen. But now I've got the stronger one, this one here. So, good luck, and let's campaign peacefully. I think let's campaign peacefully. We've taken oath here that we adhere to the regulations and standard of ECZ, who support the police in maintaining law and order.
Meanwhile, only 3 political parties out of the 5 have successfully found in their nominations, with the 2 being the People's Alliance for Change and UNIP being pushed to a later date. ECZ Public Relations Manager Patricia Luhanga told journalists that this has been necessitated by the delays caused by some political parties.
Other 2 candidates that were scheduled to have the nominations process and by them today are asked to reschedule, and this is in the hands of MWILA, People's Alliance for Change, Dr. Stefan Sontamala of UNIP, will update you on the time that has been given to them to file their nominations.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, the non-governmental Gender Organization Coordinating Council has commended President Edgar Lungu for maintaining a female running mate following the decision by Ms. Inonge Wina not to be considered for the position. NGOCC chairperson Mrs. Mary Mulenga has since called on Professor Luo to use her vast experience in politics to champion for more women representation at all levels. Mrs. Mulenga is confident that if voted into office as Zambia's vice president, Professor Luo will discharge her duties diligently, given the vast experience she has especially in advancing the women agenda. She has cited Professor Luo's involvement in the formation of the Women's Lobby, Tasinta, among other organizations aimed at uplifting the welfare of women as her signature achievements.
We have yet been given another woman from the women's movement, and we are very, very grateful. So you can see the excitement, to us, the women, that at that high level we have maintained. So we have come here to our home to just present a bouquet of flowers. It may not look much, but it is just an appreciation to say, wow, this is great news to the women's movement. We only hope that if she was here, I had one message for her, that going forward, because you, the media, were there a couple of days ago when we were lamenting about the low numbers of the women that have been adopted in all the political parties. The numbers are very, very low. 17%, I think, from PF, 11% from UPND. We are hoping that with Professor Luo as running mate, she will be able to whisper to His Excellency the President that when it comes to those 8 nominated positions, that the women should carry the day, at least 50%, if not all the 8.
As various aspiring members of parliament filed in their nomination for Chawama constituency, the leadership movement candidate Ntanzana Musukuma has urged the people of Chawama to reject people who do not reside in the area in this year's election. He has accused PF of imposing a candidate who does not understand the challenges the people of Chawama are facing. He has called on the people of Chawama to rally behind a party that will take the interests of the people at heart. Meanwhile, PF Chawama constituency aspiring candidate Tasila Lungu says there is a lot of unemployment in Chawama which she seeks to address.
Chawama constituency was a hive of activity Monday as various aspiring candidates turned up at Chawama Basic School to file in their nominations. Police were alert and in a usual style, others assumed the role of traffic officers. But after the processes were done, this journalist had one question for all the candidates aspiring to represent the people of Chawama in Parliament. What is your agenda for Chawama?
If development take place, the human being should be at the center of all activities. To mention about my being confident, it is the people that will be able to decide. I'm coming here because I've got the ideas. I've spent all my time in Chawama constituency here, working and living around this particular area. I have been teaching here in LUSAKA for over 25 years, and I've understood Chawama very well. One of the biggest challenges that people of Chawama should be able to realize that you cannot develop if education is selective in terms of provision.
And the leadership movement candidate had a message for the people of Chawama.
We have seen in the past where Chawama has imported representatives. For example, today the nation may wish to know that His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. EDGAR, does not come from Chawama constituency. He comes from Kawata. He crossed the rail line to come into Chawama. He became MP, and today he wants to impose his daughter on us as a member of parliament, something which all of us are collectively saying no. Yes. No, we don't want. The time has come for us to represent ourselves. Yes. Chawama constituency is not short of leaders. Tiripo, Taimirira, and we are representing the poor.
And later, around 12 hours, business came to a standstill in the area as the PF used the occasion to show its muscle and influence in the area by moving with a convoy of vehicles to showcase its candidate. And the PF candidate, Tasila Lungu, shared the agenda for Chawama.
The biggest issue, our unemployment levels are high, so we'll work with the youth and the women to get them in cooperatives to make sure that they're empowered in a sustainable way.
Just as the PF performance was getting done, the UPND candidate, Port Fatembo, appeared undercover in a Vitz. Shortly after going through the process, Mr. Tembo addressed his supporters.
We are going to make sure that Chawama destroys the politics of relationships. We are going to make sure that I am here to set a legacy and to make sure that on 12 August we rewrite the history of Chawama, which our children's children will read that there was a man called Port Fatembo with Vice President DAKA in Dechilema, and the councillors and this team here broke the monarchy. They broke the monarchy completely out and allowed people to contest elections on a free and fair slate without looking at who is related to who, and from there who should come in, not here. So we are breaking that kind of arrangement on the 12th August.
By broadcast time, political parties who had filed in nominations include the UPND, Leadership Movement, Democratic Party, Socialist Party, and the ruling PF. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
And in Petauke Central, former PF member JJ Banda brought the district to a standstill as he was escorted to the nomination center with scores of his supporters. Mr. Banda is standing as an independent MP after being left out of the PF adoptions in preference for long-time serving MP Dora Silia, who says her focus will now be on improving the water reticulation in the area as it has seen exponential growth over the years. While in Lufanyama, UPND's Kenny Siachisumo is confident of scoping the seat, saying the UPND is strong on the ground. The same sentiments have also been shared by UPND's Kalumbila constituency aspiring MP Nicholas Mukumbi.
First of all, the town has grown. There's still a demand for water.
Exactly.
There's still a lot of demand for water in Petauke Central. There have been a lot of new settlements. The families have increased. Petauke Central, Petauke District as a whole is going to over 300,000 people. So we need to do a lot with water. We need to do more in terms of schools, in terms of clinics, in terms of especially rural roads, feeder roads. We have a lot more to do.
When you go in Lufanyama, you find the roads are impassable. Farmers are finding it very difficult, to take, their farm produce to the market and also their farm inputs to their farms. Even coming, to town is very, very difficult. The schools are far from each other. The clinics are also far from each other. We want to make sure that, as UPND, when we come in power, starting from now, we start developing Lufanyama. We are going to make sure that people of Lufanyama, they are not just holding, the tree. They need to eat the fruits.
Following several protests by some Patriotic Front cadres in Lusaka Central over the re-adoption of Margaret Manakatwe to recontest her seat, Mrs. Manakatwe says she is not shaken as she has delivered and deserves another term. The Member of Parliament says the fact that she has been re-adopted means President Lungu still has confidence in her. She says her focus is only to win the election and ensure that President Lungu retains office come August. Mrs. Manakatwe said this when she filed in her nomination in Lusaka Monday morning.
MP, I'm here, and in case somebody doesn't show up, somebody else is on standby to ensure that I'm going to say thank you to them, and also to pray that as we go into the campaign, which has now started, this calmness will prevail and that there will be no violence amongst the people of Lusaka Central. And finally, I want to thank the President, EDGAR, for really giving the confidence that he has given me to be able to come back and stand as a member of Parliament. And I want to promise that with my team, we're going to work hard to ensure that we deliver Lusaka Central for the post-PF. I think this is where I was saying to my team just this morning, that tomorrow itself we have to sit down and plan how we're going to campaign, given that there are no rallies. I've got a team that is full of knowledge and wisdom and ideas.
6 candidates are in the race for election for a Kelenge constituency in Northwestern Province. Elijah Muchima of the United Party for National Development, UPND, who has held the only seat in Kelenge as Member of Parliament for 15 years, is now facing the toughest challenge of his political career from Patriotic Front's PF's Peter Fisher and 4 others. The ruling Patriotic Front has grabbed the adoption certificate issued to Manyinga parliamentary candidate Danny Chingimbu and handed it to Anochi Chipawa in unclear circumstances. The incident happened as Mr. Chingimbu was preparing to go file in his nomination papers. Mr. Chipwa, who was given the adoption certificate on the nomination day, has since filed in, leaving Mr. Chingimbu in a state of shock. In Mwensa District, the UPND has also withdrawn the adoption certificate issued to Stephen Chikota and handed it over to Alan Mwape. This is despite Mr. Chikota having paid the nomination fees. Mr. Chikota explains that confusion arose as both UPND candidates had adoption certificates in readiness to file in their nomination papers and several phone calls and after several phone calls, the party's Secretary General announced that the party's candidate for Mwense would be Mr. MWEPU. In other news, new UNIP revolutionary member Simon MWILA Mulenga has ditched his party on the last minute and has since filed in as Socialist Party mayoral candidate for Lusaka. Elsewhere, UPND's Nalikwanda constituency parliamentary aspirant Mundia Mukobesa has successfully filed in his nomination papers as Member of Parliament for Kabwata constituency under the Socialist Party after being left out in adoptions in Nalikwanda by the UPND. The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD, says it expects the Bank of Zambia Monetary Policy Committee to maintain the monetary policy rate at 8.50% in order to give more time for the upward adjustment that was made in the first quarter of 2021 to take full effect. CTPD researcher Public Finance Wakumelo Mata says although there has been a slowdown in inflation since the last upwards adjustment, the prevailing rate of inflation at over 22% remains well above the 6 to 8% target range. In this regard, he says CTPD does not expect a downward adjustment of the monetary policy rate. CTPD notes that overall inflation rose to a quarterly average of 22.17% in the first quarter of 2021 from the previous outturn of 17.35%, driven mainly by an increase in food inflation as non-food inflation slowed down. Mr. Mata notes that food inflation rose substantially to a quarterly average of 26.90% from the previous 17.20%, while non-food inflation declined to a quarterly average of 16.63% from the previous 18.03%.
As the Bank of Zambia Monetary Policy Committee sets to announce its monetary policy decision this coming Wednesday, the 19th of May 2021, the Center for Trade Policy and Development expects the committee to maintain the policy rate at the current 8.5%. This will be done to ensure that the upward adjustment that was made in the first quarter of 2021 takes full effect. Now, although there has been a slowdown in inflation since the upward adjustment was made, we remain cognizant of the fact that the prevailing rate of inflation at over 22% remains well above the upper bound of the 6 to 8% target range. And in view of this, we do not expect the committee to make a downward adjustment to the policy rate. However, we remain cognizant that for the long term, the monetary policy rate alone should not and cannot be seen as a silver bullet to addressing inflation dynamics in Zambia. Robust monetary policy interventions must be complemented with appropriate fiscal policy anchored around narrowing the fiscal deficit by enhancing domestic revenue generation while ensuring that public expenditure obeys the austerity measures prescribed and outlined in the Economic Recovery Program.
You're watching Camnet News. We take a break. We'll be back.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Every day for me means hard work, going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
This month, we're taking over your TV screen with brand new entertainment. A Border Patrol agent is forced to work for a Mexican cartel in Coyote.
My family! It's up to you to keep them safe.
A Ghanaian fashion designer weathers societal prejudice while chasing her dreams in 40 and single.
Single ladies to the dance floor.
A husband will stop at nothing to cover the tracks of his wife's outrageous crime in What If.
It is your responsibility to make sure that I come out clean.
3 chefs go head-to-head using ingredients chosen by their very own neighbors in Kitchen Crash.
Oh, I love it. It's blended. It's meat sauce.
There's meat sauce.
And there are wacky adventures galore when 2 families are forced to live together in boy, girl, dog, cat, mouse, cheese.
We can handle it.
It's your moment to be taken over with the freshest entertainment.
The much-awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness, and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bobs Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that will give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. 8 people have been arrested for various offences relating to illegal operation of drug stores and illegal possession of government medicines. Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority Senior Public Relations Officer Christabel Iliamupu reveals that Yohane Nkwabe, mayor aged 46 years of Chipata District, has been jointly charged with Zimema Nzima, mayor aged 42 years, for being in possession of government medicines suspected to have been unlawfully obtained contrary to Section 319 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. Mrs. Iliamupo has further revealed that 7 people have been charged for operating pharmacies without certificates of registration, contrary to Section 14, Cap 1 and Cap A of Medicines and Allied Substances Act No. 3 of 2013.
I wish to confirm that 8 people have been arrested for offences relating to illegal operation of drugstores, as well as being in possession of government medicines suspected to have been unlawfully obtained. I wish once again to place on record that these inspections are routine and all those wishing to operate drugstores or pharmacies should ensure that they follow the right prescribed guidelines as well as procedures in order to ensure that public health is safeguarded and that they avoid prosecution in accordance with the provisions of the law.
Zambia's Attorney General Likando Kalaluka has told the Lusaka High Court that the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act does not contravene the Constitution in any way, as provisions are within the limitations to the rights and freedoms provided by the Constitution. In this case, Chapter 1 Foundation, Bloggers of Zambia Limited, GEARS Initiative, People's Action for Accountability and Good Governance in Zambia, and Alliance for Community Action have petitioned the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions as first and second respondents. The five NGOs state that various provisions of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act are unconstitutional and need to be struck off from the statute books. But the Attorney General has also argued that the conservatory order being sought by the five civil society organizations to prevent the prosecution of people under the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act pending determination of their petition has the same effect as granting an injunction and is against the State Proceedings Act. We have more in this report.
Arguments that various provision of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Act are unconstitutional and need to be struck off from the statute books continues in the Lusaka High Court, now having the latest submissions from the Attorney General challenging this argument, stating that the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act does not contravene the Constitution in any way, as the provisions are within the limitation to the rights and freedoms provided by the Constitution. In this case, five non-government organizations, which include Chapter 1 Foundation, Bloggers of Zambia Limited, GEARS Initiative, People's Action for Accountability and Good Governance in Zambia, and Alliance for Community Action, have petitioned the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions. The five non-government organizations who cited the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions as respondent argued that Section 11, 12, 29, 38, 40, 54, 59, 65, 69, 72, and 74 of the Act severally threatens the rights to privacy, the freedom of expression, the right to freely impact and receive information, the right of constancy, the freedom of the media, and the right to a fair trial. The petitioners want the court to make a declaration that Section 11, 12, 29, 38, 40, 54, 69, 72, and 74 of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Act are unconstitutional and should be struck off. But the Attorney General argues that the conservatory order being sought by the five civil society organizations to prevent the prosecution of people under the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Act pending determination of their petition has the same effect as granting an injunction and is against the State Proceedings Act. According to an affidavit in opposition of summons for conservatory order signed by Deputy Chief State Advocate Comfort Mulinga from the Attorney General's chambers, it has stated that article being relied on makes no provision for interim orders and the application must first be determined before an order is issued. They further argue that if the court is persuaded that they have jurisdiction to grant the conservatory order, it should be noted that the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act does not contravene the Constitution in any way. Its provisions are within the limitation to the rights and freedoms provided by the Constitution. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka Magistrate Court on Monday morning informed that Patriotic Front PF member Chimbakambwili's son Mwamba Kambwili was unable to appear in court as he was sick. Mr. Kambwili's son Mwamba was expected to open his defense in the case where he is accused of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. Dr. Kambwili and others who appeared before Magistrate Mwaka Mikalile for opening of their defense could not proceed with the case because Kambwili's son, who is among the accused person, is reported sick. In this matter, Kambwili, his son Mwamba, Mwamona Engineering and Technical Services, Lukwesa Msonda, Brano and Mulenga Makasa Kapilima are charged with 1 count of making a document without authority, 1 of uttering a false document, 2 counts of obtaining pecuniary advantage by false pretenses, and 35 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. It is alleged that in one of the counts that Mwamuna Engineering and Kambuli, on dates unknown but between August 1, 2014 and September 30, 2016 in Lusaka, whilst acting together by means of false pretense, dishonestly obtained 105,220.07 United States dollars from China Hainan International Corporation Group Limited, purporting that Mwamuna, a company which was subcontracted, was executing the works of Luwingu Mansa Road when in fact not. Kambwili and Mwamuna are also alleged to have presented a false ZRA tax clearance certificate to ZESCO, purporting that it was genuinely issued, resulting in the award of a contract of 8 million kwacha for the construction of houses and toilets under the Lunzua hydropower project, thereby obtaining pecuniary advantage of a contract sum of 1,652,482.81 kwacha. The Patriotic Front PF has accused the United Party for National Development UPND of burning its own campaign material in an effort to dent the image of the PF party. In an interview with Camnet News, PF Media Director Antonio Mwanza says the UPND is desperate at winning the elections, hence staging fake propaganda to gain sympathy from the electorates. Mr. Mwanza says UPND started by burning its own T-shirts and has now moved to burning its own billboards. Meanwhile, police spokesperson Esther Katongo says investigations have been instituted into a matter where a billboard belonging to the UPND has been burned barely a day after it was put up. Details in the following report.
Barely a day after a billboard belonging to the United Party for National Development was put up, its lifespan has been cut short after unknown people burnt it down. This sad state of affair is not only disturbing but worrisome of what will characterize this campaign period. Over the last few weeks, campaign materials belonging to the UPND have become victims of vandalism by unknown people who have burnt as well as vandalized businesses that have been seen printing materials belonging to the UPND. And when contacted for a comment, PF Media Director Antonio Mwanza says the UPND has been destroying its own material in the name of wanting to bring the name of the PF in disrepute.
Completely distance the Patriotic Front from the billboard that has been burnt by UPND. It has got nothing to do with the Patriotic Front. We believe that this is just cheap propaganda from the UPND. We believe they have stage managed this so that they can try to create tension and to make people believe that the Patriot Front is vandalizing their billboards. They started first by burning their own T-shirts. From there now they have started burning their own billboards. We want to run a free, fair and violence-free campaign. And we as a party are committed to making sure that none of our members engages themselves in electoral malpractice.
But the UPND has disputed these allegations and says the PF needs to tame its cadres as such behavior can light fire in the country.
Very reluctant to engage the comments made by Antonio Mwanza over the burning of HH's posters, where he's insinuating that it is UPND burning those billboards. Well, that is below par politics, and I don't think there's anything in that what he was saying which would require the UPND to begin to respond to such caliber of politics. It is actually below what I expect of Antonio Mwanza. He is a former president of UNZASU, and he has been around politics for a while now. And for him to engage in such low level of politics, I think I'm not interested in responding to him at that level. It's too low.
And police spokesperson Esther Katongo says police are investigating the matter and has called on anyone with information on who is behind the burning of the billboard to come forward.
For us, it is criminal because that's what the law says. When you look at a billboard, it was put up at a huge cost and it has a value to the owner of the billboard. Even Stenge material, any campaign material has got value to the owner of that campaign material. So the moment someone destroys, defaces, puts down what has been put up by other political parties, it is a criminal offense. When we look at the penal code. That is malicious, causing malicious damage to property. For us, that is malicious damage to property, and as police, we have instituted investigations. We are just calling upon members of the public who could have information on what transpired to give that information to the police. Otherwise, our officers are already on the ground.
In a democratic space like Zambia, differences in opinion should be respected, and all those frustrating the efforts of others by burning materials brought at a cost must be prosecuted, as this is an act of criminality. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The government says the partnership with the British government in preventing illegal wildlife trade is crucial in Zambia's conservation efforts. Tourism and Arts Permanent Secretary Patrick Lungu said the joint effort will help reduce the risk to wildlife crime, and the country will be in a position to preserve its wildlife resource for present and future generations. And Anti-Poaching Task Force Chairperson Kenneth William Kakoma said the joint defense teams have a role to support wildlife conservation in the country. And Department of National Parks and Wildlife Director Dr. Chuma Simukonda said the Kafue National Park is under pressure and needs urgent protection by working together with other armed forces. Meanwhile, British Army Representative Major David Pumphrey said the Navy wants to play a role in the prevention of poaching on the Kafue. The remarks were made during the opening of the second phase of joint anti-poaching training to be conducted by the British military at Chunga School Training Grounds in Kafue National Park today.
Therefore, the efforts by the government of Zambia, through the Department of National Parks and Wildlife, the Defense and Security Wings, our cooperating partners and other conservationists, provide the much needed security and protection of this vital resource. To thank the government of the United Kingdom for ensuring that the training of our officers in anti-poaching techniques continues to the next level.
We'll put hands together with other armed forces to ensure that our national park is well protected and our GMAs are safe and become economically meaningful to the people that live within them.
PSR, once operational, we hope the Defense and Security Wings will assist in the reduction of wildlife poaching.
Zambia for what it is, which is a real jewel in southern Africa. I'll keep it short because I know it's hot, particularly for us Brits out on the parade square. So thank you very much for your time.
The people of Chavuma district in northwestern province are concerned over the delay to complete the construction of Chavuma police station. The project, whose construction started in 2012, still remains unfinished to date. The project was given to Lami's Construction Company, a Zambian-owned firm, and it was expected to be complete in November 2013.
The importance of security amid Zambia's growing population cannot be overemphasized. A police station is the #1 factor when it comes to security, as the police are charged with a constitutional mandate to maintain law and order. However, there is a growing concern over the construction of Chavuma police station in Chavuma district of northwestern province, which has continued to drag. The 1.3 million kwacha project, which started in 2012, remains unfinished. The project was given to a Zambian-owned company, Lamuse Construction, and it was expected to complete in November 2013 according to the scope of the contract. The people of Chavuma and surrounding areas have to access the police station located at Chingi border between Zambia and Angola, which is over 11 kilometers from the central business district. The prolonged delay to finish the project has seen the structure getting dilapidated and the roof has been blown off. Similar projects which started recently, such as the construction of a police station in Kanyama constituency, have been finalized, yet the people of Chavuma district are still being denied access to quality police service.
The problem of the police station is overdue.
Since it started, they have not touched it. Up to now, we are suffering. We are moving about 12 kilometers. Any problem which comes emerges, unless you move 12 kilometers to go to found the police station. Please, we are appealing to the government. Please, try to come and finish this project. It has stayed long. Come and finish it. We are appealing to the government. Before 2021 election, let it be this project finished. We are calling you, the government, to finish this project or police station.
For now, it can be speculated whether or not the project is among those affected by the government's move toward projects below 75% in view of austerity measures. And when contacted for an update, the district administration could not comment on the matter. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
This is Camnet News, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
President Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF have placed highly on the diversification of the agriculture sector to ensure national food security and increased exports of key crops. Vote for President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluwa with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chilua comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluba are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
The much awaited for Camnet conference is now scheduled for May 2021 with your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
We have believed that every Zambian was born for greatness and that you and I can contribute to the development of this nation.
The big questions to ask are, can Zambia develop through agriculture? Can we produce indigenous Zambian millionaires? Plan not to miss this national conference on empowering Zambians through agriculture knowledge. Dates, 28th to 29th May 2021. Time, 0730 hours to 1630 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Charges, 950 kwacha, lunch inclusive for both days. Payments through via mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010, or you can pay via Stanbic Bank account number 91 3000 1825 325. Speakers will be Professor Reda.
We need Zambia to be one of the best nations in Africa.
Professor Munkumba.
If you just listen to a lecture, you may remember hardly anything. In 2 weeks' time, it's all gone. If you read, you may remember 10% of what you've read. If you participate in a discussion, 50% retention of the knowledge. So I always tell people, knowledge is the only thing that when you share it, you don't lose it.
Professor Msongole.
Agriculture can actually solve our unemployment for our youth. Through exports, agricultural exports, we can also stabilize our foreign exchange.
Honorable Bob Chinga.
When you do a budget, you plan it so that all the sectors, especially those that could give you low-lying fruits, in other words, you can achieve a lot with it, are the first things you do first.
And biologist Kamweneshe.
If we came together and put our hands together and concentrate on the soil. The people in Kenya, these Swahili people said, Dongo ni mali, means soil, that's money.
Register your participation through Camnet lines. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. In international news, the corruption trial of former South African President Jacob Zuma, which was supposed to begin on Monday, has been postponed to May 26 by a South African court. The trial has been pushed back several times and relates to a graft case that transpired more than 20 years ago. The court in Pietermaritzburg is examining 16 charges of fraud, graft and racketeering relating to a 1999 purchase of fighter jets, patrol boats and military gear from 5 European arms firms for 30 billion rand, equal to almost $5 billion at the time. The case centers on an arms deal with French arms company Thales. Zuma is accused of having pocketed more than 4 million rand or 285,000 United States dollars at the current rate from Thales, which is one of the companies which was awarded the juicy contract with a global value of around 3.4 billion United States dollars.
Another trial day for the former South Africa's President Jacob Zuma. The former leader is set to appear in court on Monday in a graft case dating back more than 2 decades. Observers speculate that his case might be postponed again, given that all his lawyers quit last month without publicly giving a reason. If the trial is pushed forward, it may allow him to reorganize a new legal team that will represent him in the graft case, and this may further delay the case. Zuma is faced with 16 charges of fraud, graft, and racketeering relating to a 1999 purchase of fighter jets, patrol boats and military gears from 5 European arms firms for 30 billion rands, that equals to almost $5 billion at the time. He has lodged a string of unsuccessful series of appeals to have the charges dropped. For now, Zuma's repeated refusal to testify to the commission has led to a judicial stalemate, but he has been named directly or indirectly by more than 30 witnesses before the panel, whose findings may be used for investigation and prosecution purposes.
Israel killed a senior Palestinian militant commander in Gaza on Monday in airstrikes which it said also targeted underground tunnels used by Hamas and Islamist groups. The violence entered its second week with no sign of an end to the fiercest hostilities in the region in years, despite growing international concern and mounting calls for a ceasefire. after rockets were fired from Gaza at the Israeli cities of Beersheba and Ashkelon. Israeli jets bombed what the military said were 15 kilometers of underground tunnels used by Hamas.
Israeli warplanes unleashed heavy airstrikes on Gaza City early on Monday, with no sign of the hostilities in the region abating as the violence enters its second week. According to the Israeli military, the strikes destroyed 15 kilometers of secret tunnels used by Gaza's militant Islamist rulers Hamas, as well as the homes of 9 of the group's commanders. It also claimed to have killed a senior commander of Islamic Jihad, another militant group fighting alongside Hamas. A 3-story building in Gaza City was heavily damaged, but residents were evacuated beforehand.
قامت الطيارات الإسرائيلية بقصف الشارع كاملة والمباني وضرب البنية التحتية، وهدفهم من هذا تدمير الاقتصاد وتدمير الحاجات الأساسية للشعب، يعني لا مية شرب، لا عدم المؤاخذة مجاري، لا خدمات.
Israel's military said Hamas fired about 60 rockets towards Israeli cities overnight, down from 120 and 200 the 2 previous nights. On Sunday, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called for an immediate de-escalation.
Fighting must stop. It must stop immediately. I appeal to all parties to heed this call. The United Nations is actively engaging all sides towards an immediate ceasefire.
Speaking on US network television on Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the military would continue striking Hamas targets in an effort to diminish the group's firepower, giving no fixed timeline.
We're trying to degrade Hamas's terrorist abilities and to degrade their will to do this again. So it'll take some time. I hope it won't take long, but it's not immediate.
The conflict began last Monday with Hamas firing rockets at Israel and Israel responding with airstrikes. This followed weeks of escalating tensions between Palestinians and Israelis in East Jerusalem, which the international community has considered to be occupied by Israel since 1967.
It's time now for sports news. In sports news, Zamfoot reports that Chipolo Polo Boys duo of striker Patson DAKA and midfielder MWEPU scored a goal each on Sunday as Red Bull Salzburg thrashed LASK 5-2 in an Austrian Bundesliga encounter played at the Raiffeisen Arena in Pasching. Salzburg wrapped up their title defense in midweek, hence coach Jeze Marsch decided to make changes to his starting lineup, naming his youngest starting 11 of the season with an average age of 22 years and 263 days. 21-year-old shortstopper Nico Mantau made his debut for the Austrian champions. Omar Mikael Solet Bomowoko partnered Andre Romajo in the heart of the defense. 20-year-old Nicolas Seward started in midfield alongside Antoine Benede. Salzburg took the lead in the next minute as Noah Okafor returned to the scoresheet with a neatly taken finish after being set up by Karim Adeyemi. DAKA increased Salzburg's lead a minute to half-time after finalizing off a Seward pass, with MWEPU heavily involved in the build-up. 27th league goal for the season for the 2017 CAF Young Player of the Year. The story brings us to the end of the news, but we take a look at the headlines again. EDGAR LUNGU and Davis MWILA beg PF members to support Luo even if they hate her. PF accused UPND of banning their own presidential billboard. Cybersecurity Act under microscope in the Lusaka High Court. In international news, Jacob Zuma's corruption trial over arms deal postponed. And in sports, MWEPU and DAKA on target in Salzburg win over LASK. The Camnet word verse of the day is coming from the book of Nahum 1 verse 7 to 8, and it reads, "The Lord is good, a stronghold in a day of distress. He cares for those who take refuge in him, but he will completely destroy Nineveh with an overwhelming flood, and he will chase his enemies into darkness." On that note, we come to the end of our news. Thanks for watching. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.